Hello there folks, welcome back to an episode of Do It Better with Chelsea, myself and not Frank Lampard. Of course, we took over at the very start of the season. Hopefully you've been watching the series go along. This is part 4 of 5, we're very close to the end, but if you have been enjoying it, make sure you drop a like on it, make sure you subscribe, as we're going to do this with other teams as well. Feel free to leave your suggestions down in the comment section. And right then, let's talk through it then. We've had some good results and the occasional poor one, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in this episode. So then, you can see, and I'm going to start with this because this is something that if you've watched me for a very long time, or even a short amount of time, you'll notice that in my series, my main series, I'm very poor at rotating. And one of the reasons you know that this game has had my absolute full attention in a series where the objective is to try and beat the game, really, not just sort of have fun with it so much, but to beat the game. My rotation has been on point. Like I'm bringing players off the bench on a pretty regular basis, but it's Andrea Bellotti. That's the one really. He's the lowest appearance maker for us, and he's started 7 games still. Emerson 8 starts for him. Kadira 9, Christensen 10. We're playing on all fronts, right? We've been playing in the League Cup, we've been playing in the FA Cup, Europa League, Champions League. There's been lots of times for us to do this, but the players are getting an awful lot of minutes. Like there's so many players over 1,000 minutes, or over, as you can see there, over 900 minutes. So everyone's playing the equivalent-ish, apart from Emerson and Bellotti, who both had injuries, conversely. They're playing almost 10 games per person, like throughout a season, and this isn't a small squad by any stretch, right? Like we've got a full bench there. What is this? We've got a lot of players. So you've got your 11, you've got your 18, and then 6 more. We've almost got a full 25-man squad here that we're working with, and we're still finding a way to find them all game time. That is arguably why we haven't got one clear top goal scorer. Timo Werner, 16 goals this year. Tammy Abraham on 15. Pulisic there. Kurt Zouma is an absolute weapon, whether it be corners or throw-ins, which... There's a thing with throw-ins. That might be a separate video. We've got Ziyech as well, of course, 10 goals for him. And on the assists, like the fullbacks all up there as well. Reece James, Azpilicueta, Hateboer, Ben Chilwell, whether they're playing on the left or the right, have been absolutely crucial. Don't obviously forget about Mason Mount, who is one of my favourite players I've used on Football Manager for quite some time. That 20 work rate, we talked about him last time. I was so excited by him. He's such a good player at such a young age. Like it's interesting that he's already sort of at his potential ability at 22. Whether he would develop in this Chelsea side and become a much better player, it's kind of hard to say. But man, the player that we've got right now with him is some talent. It really is. And system wise, we talked about our attacking efficiency. We are still having just about the most amount of shots per game in the Premier League, and we're still in that sort of aggressive, clinical standing. The big thing for me in recent times is the clean sheets that we've kept. You look at our form there. There's been a couple of defeats. We have been really very good. The last time we met was the Newcastle game. Of course, doing a save like this, you need to play through it quite a little bit more. So that's what we've had to do. You can see progression in the FA Cup has been good, and we're going to play Forest today as well as Liverpool to play through some games and see how it's different against a sort of a decent Championship side and a side that are up there battling us for a league title. Speaking of the league, it's worth noting that we are top of it. 8 points clear. City, the team behind us, and their frailties against sides that are considered the big sides. Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool. One team missing from the teams they've lost against. That'll be us. We drew against them early this season, and more recently, they are one of the sides to beat us. And it's strange, right? You might have noticed I've removed the Europa League fixtures from there. This side, for whatever reason, hold the ball so much better than us to the point where it's like being strangled by a snake, viewers. Our attackers, for whatever reason, can't find space against the likes of City. Every time you play them, whether it be the Europa League, and this sounds funny actually when you see that we've scored 4 goals in one of the games against them, but again, they're still having far more possession. Our chances very limited. Like from the 5 shots we had on target, 4 of them went in. So we're clinical, don't get me wrong, along with City, who sort of sit over here as the one team we can't seem to get the best out of, or we can't get the best of, I should say. The other issue we have are 5 at the back systems. You can see here in our analysis report, and if you don't use the analysis report, these bits of data I find to be very, very useful, not just for like defensive efficiency, like we talked about our attacking. We are quiet, impenetrable, difficult to break down, but arguably the best off there. Shots faced per game, very, very low, and again, we're not conceding very many. Opposition's conversion rates percentages against us, very, very low. So defensively good, offensively very good. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail in a moment. But we come to this with scoring and conceding with formations. That's the one we want to look at. you see these here, like clear-cut chances for and against. We are positive against almost every formation. I say every formation. Most of the formations we play against. You look at the frequency: 4-3-3s, 4-2-3-1s, 4-4-2s. We're better than almost every single time. The ones we have trouble against are this one specifically is one of the problems for us. It started 7 times against us. The 5-2-3. Wing back wide. There's also a 5-3-2 that we have a little bit of a problem against. The 5-3-2 without the DM sitting in the middle and playing someone more offensively, we're not too bad against. But it's been a theme. Like Arsenal play against us. If we just bring up the Europa League again, they beat us earlier in the season with it. They're like City and Arsenal have been problem teams for us, really. They play this system. And again, the restriction of our forwards is a problem. Like Wolves, we drew against Wolves. They played the same thing. It wasn't a defeat, but they are packing that defence, and for whatever reason our strikers don't quite seem creative enough. Whether it's the sort of thing where we change systems, where we push these players further forward, or we bring these players further back to sort of hopefully restrict them a little bit and build up the pitch together. I don't know, maybe 2 strikers is another option for us, and we could play some sort of diamond. I don't know, the fire at the back systems for whatever reason of course does issues, and it's the one question mark. And there's lots of things I understand about this team and how it operates and how we defend and how we attack, and yeah, fire at the back systems, the one thing that is stopping us. So if you were thinking of playing this tactic, be aware of that one thing. But I mentioned the goals for and the goals against. If you go to the team details in this season, you can see expected goals for here. 53 is our expected goals. What we've actually achieved in terms of goals scored is 67. So we are scoring 14 more goals than predicted on our XG. 22 is our conceded goals. Our XG, again, will probably be slightly lower, I suspect, if we just go again to team details and then to, where is it? It's here somewhere. Expected goals against, yeah, so 23, and we're at the bottom of the list. Hopefully you can just about see it. 19 it says. I know you can't quite see it because I'm in the way, but it says 19.34. Can I switch it the other way? Just believe me. It says, I'll move my face. There, look, 19.34. I told you. Only City better us. Typical. So it goes without saying, we are having an extremely impressive season. Our rotation has played a huge part of that. We've had injuries, like Havertz has had some big injuries. Hatterborn had a big injury at some stage as well. The strikers have been frequently rotated, which is something that most teams don't do, right? They have one striker, he's the main man, and we focus around him. With ourselves, Tammy and Belotti share the striker role, and with Timo Werner, I sort of play him a little bit all over the place. You've seen me play him wide, you've seen me play him up front. You can play either side. That makes him so versatile. And players like Ziyech can play again across that line. Mount, Havertz can play further forward, can play a bit deeper. Kovacic is the same. So the versatility of the squad that we built, talked about it before, really, really important. And yeah, it's definitely been a key part of our success. Now, interestingly, the side that you can see here on the screen is not the side that we play most of our games with. You can notice a lot of our first team players on the bench for this. Chilwell, Silva, Werner, Kante, etc. We're playing Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Forest themselves are having a really good year, up in 3rd place in the Championship. Look like they're destined for the playoffs. Who knows, maybe they'll be in the Premier League next season. And it's going to be interesting to see, stylistically, how our second team essentially does in a game against Forest. Because we've played them so much, you can see like their last 5 games, you can see their average ratings. They understand this system. Orsic, Hudson-Odoi, second fiddle, both of them. Young English winger. Orsic was brought in as a backup player to Pulisic, and because we planned for that, it's meant that we can bring them off the bench regularly, and they fit straight in. They understand the role. Tammy, running through the centre, so crucial. And the thing about these 3 players, right, it's not necessarily just the goals they score, which they have done plenty of. It's the chances created. Let me show you what I mean. So you can see here, in our last 40 games, we've tried to avoid the friendlies in this, we have scored 74 of our goals from this area of the penalty area. That it's such a precise place to score from. Goals are not coming from wider areas. They're not being scored from outside the box. The amount of quality chances we're creating and quality finishes, right, like place shots, headers, close range efforts, like the ability for us to do that is probably, to me, more interesting when you realise we haven't got work ball into the box, but at the same time, that is where all of our goals are coming from. And I think playing those wingers, we talked about before, playing these wingers on their play instructions to sit narrower has been not a change in necessarily how we play, but it means there is constant support for our strikers in those areas. Hence, that when any of them play, they've all scored goals in this league campaign. It's been really impressive to watch it happen. It's interesting to see like our assists in the same fashion. A lot have come through the centre, but they're coming from wide areas, right? And through balls is our most productive for those that are curious. Opposition mistakes, relatively high as well. Free kicks, we're not scoring that often, even short passes, right? It's those through balls to those pacey wingers. And the reason I bring that up is that when I brought Belotti in and I sold Giroud, I didn't want us to have a plan B. Our plan B was play Belotti instead of Werner, play Abraham instead of Belotti. Like, don't worry too much about creating a plan B. And it's something that you see sort of more modern managers do now. There isn't this, right, let's lump it to the big man and bring someone off the bench. It's let's change very subtly what we're doing stylistically. And for me, that's changing really minor things, whether we just change these two players around if it works, like we do it with Kovacic and Mount all the time. It's interesting to see a team set up in one way. Like, we do not play like a second system. And arguably, to bring it back to what we talked about earlier, that is part of the issue that we suffer against 5-at-the-back systems. And finding a way around that, like if we played this and plugged it in Italy, for example, if you're doing a save in Italy, this probably won't work. A lot of sides in Italy play 5-at-the-back systems. So if you've got an Italian save and you've thought, oh, I'll try this with Juventus or Roma or Lazio, whoever, and it's not working, that could be a reason as to why. In the Premier League, where most teams play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, this is an extremely successful tactic. And admittedly, the personnel is really important, but I dare say, with the way that the Premier League attracts players and the type of players that are already in the Premier League, you could do this with most sides in the Premier League. I think about the sides within this league that could do it. I look at the likes of Wolves and Leeds and Villa, right, that could do it pretty well. Even someone like Fulham, I think Brighton, teams that could achieve this type of system with the type of players. It'd be interesting. Like I've considered doing a Do It Better with Fulham, right, who have had a really interesting rise to the Premier League and then gone back down and then come back up again. And personnel-wise, I think they could do this. Like, I don't think we'd do it next as a Do It Better, but I'd be curious to see if we could do this with other sides. I noticed Southampton struggling this season. They're a side I think could do it quite successfully as well. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see if I could plug this into other teams and it would work just as well. Now, look, I said I was going to do a few games. We're quite a way into this episode already, but let's do it. Let's get into the Forest game and talk through some of the key moments, some key moves, and again, see the patterns of play that are developing within this Chelsea team. Right then, can the second team essentially do the business? You can see they're suggesting we make a lot of changes, or we have made a lot of changes from our last game, 10 changes in total. Well, the only constants in our side really has been Thiago Silva. That sort of plays into what we talked about last episode, where Silva plays because he is the leader in this team. I say Azpilicueta does it a little bit, Khedira does it a bit, but he is the guy. When he's not there, you'll notice I'm playing Khedira. He has to there has to be a leader on this pitch, and Khedira sort of is that for me in these games. Now this is a good chance to get to an FA Cup semi-final. We fell out at the semi-final stage against City. I'd love to get back to another semi-final if we can get past Forest today. We've got a corner. We've been very, very good from them. And that is partially why. Tammy Abraham, real big physical presence, ball from Ziyech. For those interested, the corner is to go right to the back post, and you'll see this looped, swung all the way in. There's lots of players at the front post doing not a lot at all. Tammy is isolating this man right at the back post, and just coming off McKenna there. There's another player with him as well, Harry Arter, who's not exactly the biggest, is he? I think a lot of corners in Football Manager most of the time tend to go to the front post, and teams set up for that. They are not as good at defending back post corners, it seems, as their forward. Tomori heads it clear. I don't think they're finished, but we'll come back to it if they score, I guess. Analysing goals that we've conceded. I've said that, and then I'm back straight away. Analysing goals that we concede has been a real fun part of this, and seeing where our weaknesses are and trying to adapt and make subtle changes to that. I think what I'm learning about doing this save is that me taking my time with it, having fun, so almost relearning aspects of the game. Like, again, if you've watched me for a long time, you'll know that I get a little bit panicked. I get a little bit all over the place. And that leads to bad decision making that I've taken criticism for 5 years. But there is like a deeper understanding with me. And I talked about this with some other creators recently as well, that like I come from a coaching background. I come from a background of people that are wanting to see young players succeed, right? And teaching players skills and knowing the more, like, I'll put it this way, if you've ever been in my streams, or you've ever talked to me about football, it is a different Ben than the one that plays wacky formations in like long form series of mine, as that is quite sensational. Hudson-Odoi, the support. Two things you've seen, by the way, 2 goals in the 6-yard box. It's the quality of chance that we create. We don't create the most amount of chances. City, I'm pretty sure, do that. We're pretty close though, don't get me wrong. But these clear-cut chances we create, the ball in behind, Tammy's just there waiting, just outside the 6-yard box, but you get the gist. Like, where those central areas, we give ourselves a great chance to win games by creating that many chances. We talked about it before, like we're having 17, 18 shots a game. which is so high, that corner actually went to the front post. Tomori this time. I think it's when they're in swinging from Ziyech, they go to the back post. When they're the other side, front post, it allows defenders to sort of run onto them and head it in with a little bit more velocity, as we didn't mark that defender. But back post corners are a thing, as they've got a goal back. It's quite similar to our corner. I mean, that man is completely unmarked in the centre, which I think puts everybody off a little bit. And Ryan Yates at the back stick, not very good from us. But defensive set pieces, I can handle conceding when we are so dominant in open play. And against a side that are third in the Championship, you would kind of expect that. Doing more regular shouts, of course, as well. Something that I'm focusing on a lot more in this save. It's interesting, right? I've played around with shouts for years, like clicking demand more, back post corners, Tomori this time. I've like doing shouts in previous games. There've been like 2 or 3 that work. We spoke to Football Manager about this. There was like a community thing we held with them over on Zoom. Of course we did. And they said that like the shouts are a lot more effective across the board this year. I still find that when my team are doing well and I try and tell them they're doing well, let's see if it works right now. I'm going to praise them. We're having a good performance. They loved it. See, that is something that happens more frequently. You can afford to praise. Encourage doesn't work very well. I've never told a team to calm down. They've never responded well to calm down. It's like, well, I am calm. You're not, boys. You're not calm. Focus depends, really. After conceding, it works okay. Firing them up works similar to demand more. If they're already at sort of their maximum capacity and then you demand more or you get them to fire up, they're like, we are fine. Again, they're sort of a bit angry. Tammy's got an injury, which is problematic, but when you've got Andrea Bellotti to bring on, absolutely fine. So yeah, shouts. I've had an interesting relationship with shouts this season. I feel like they are okay. No pressure. I'd never shout no pressure. Some of these, I guess, work with different teams in different situations. I don't know, if you were the Forest manager here, would you tell them there's no pressure? 3-1 down to Chelsea with 5 minutes to go. If he did, it's worked pretty well. Hudson-Odoi, I noticed, by the way, is having a pretty indifferent game. And now they've scored that goal, I'm going to do the smart thing and start to shut up shop. I'm actually going to bring Timo Werner on that right side. We've seen him do it against some of the big teams. 5 minutes to go. I wouldn't expect to lose. Again, talking about the game just makes my concentration levels drop that bit more. You should try it. You should try and talk through your entire save and match. Just do it for fun. Don't have anyone else in the room, obviously. Talk through your game for fun. Commentate it. And see if you focus on doing all the smaller jobs within managing a Football Manager save. As our shots on goal are what they normally are. And we win 3-2. Forest, though, put a decent account of themselves up. You can see the amount of shots we've had. Just look at our XG sort of just rapidly go up. Whereas they had 2 goals. And that was all they really did with their 2 shots. 2 goals. I mean, it's one of them, right? They've had 2 shots on target. They've scored both goals. Fair enough. All right, well done, lads. And now, this is interesting. So our second team have played there. Now, we come up against, actually, how bad's the Tammy injury? 1 to 2 days. We now come up against Liverpool in 14 days' time. So there's a little bit of rest time to play. There's going to be an international break, of course, in between that as well. So we'll come back for it. We'll see how we are and how they are fitness-wise. And again, we'll look at them statistically, tactically, and we'll try and counter it because they're a team that I'm scared of. I should say the reason we're doing this Liverpool game is because if we win it, I think we might just win the league. They are a little bit off the pace, but there's not long to go. It'll be 8 games after this. We'll be on 78 points. It'll be tough to catch, and some of the games are easier than others. So it's a biggie. Actually, you know what? I've just been reminded of something. This is it makes me want to play the game more. We got a couple of intakes, or youth players come through the intake. Cosmas looks like one of the best keepers that will come through, like 16-year-old Cypriot. It's quite rare for a keeper from Cyprus to be so good. But this man, Dan Mahoney, he could be so good. Attacking midfielder, probably, more so than a striker. Like, it's just their false 9. I don't necessarily think he's got the finishing ability, or even maybe the off the ball. It says he's a young Michael Owen, like he's got decent physical attributes already. But man, Dan Mahoney looks like he's going to be one hell of a player already at 16. Makes me. Do we do this safe forever? I don't know. He looks really, really good. Just realised me wearing this today has really helped me blend in with the surroundings. So it's gone well. Hey, Manager of the Month. We'll take it. How many times have I won it? Now, see, that's quite good for me. 5 Manager of the Months in a row. I was third in September. 5 in a row. I mean, I'm having fun. What can I tell you? I'm having fun. Roman's delighted with me. Loving me. Problem is, I'll probably win the league and he'll still sack me. Okay then, the Liverpool game has approached us. It's the early kickoff on this particular weekend. You can see Liverpool fighting for the Champions League places. We are fighting for a title, and I hope you don't think just because I support them we're doing Liverpool. I'll explain why we're doing the Liverpool games. Because stylistically they play like us, I think it's really interesting to see how them, with slightly better quality players, I think if you played Liverpool in FM this year, or you've been Liverpool this year, you kind of know what I'm talking about. That front three of Firmino, Salah and Mane is kind of almost like, it's weird, right? We're essentially playing the Liverpool system with a proper striker rather than playing just this player. Liverpool almost play like this at times, where they have someone sitting a little bit in front to support the attacks, then either two behind or two together in the midfield. Whereas with the way we're doing it, you could almost put like Firmino in there and then bring in Mbappe, for example, if you were Liverpool, and that would maybe be how it would work. You could have like Thiago and Henderson or Fabinho, whoever sat there. Ours works pretty well. Of course, we're going to make lots of changes to the team right now. The team that beat Forest, we're very grateful for, but we are going to make, as I say, quite a lot of changes. Zuma and Thiago Silva coming at the back for us. Ben Chilwell. It's pretty touch and go with Chilwell. I don't know if we'll start him in the game. I guess we'll do the rest of the team. Kante comes back in alongside. I might play Mason Mount in there, but I like to play Mount in behind the striker, and Ziyech actually plays on the other side ordinarily. Orsic's going to come out, of course, for Pulisic. It's interesting with Werner as well. I think the one player we'll keep in there will be Jorginho, and then up front, do you go Belotti, Werner? Abraham scored a couple. I'm going to go with Werner. I think the pace of Werner is more important against someone like Van Dijk than the physicality of Tammy. I would worry he would get bullied a little more. I noticed that Kovacic actually has come back as well, so it's probably worth having him at least on the bench for now. You can see his sharpness struggling a little bit following the injury. So yeah, hopefully we're relying quite a lot here on Jorginho to be good for us. Looking across the other side at what we expect Liverpool to play, if they play that plays into our hands. Shaqiri is not as quick as someone like Salah. Let's take a look at them. Let's see if they've got issues. Jota is going to be injured for them. Matip's out. Milner's out. Salah's got a little injury. So yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to play. And Van Dijk, much like he did in the game previously against us, needs a rest after international duty. I'm happy with the lineup. Emerson for Chilwell is my only reservation, but again, if they're going to be playing, actually I can have 2 more subs. Oh, okay, blimey, I forgot you can have 9, can't you? I can only have 5 in the FA Cup. I guess Havertz is the man we'll put on there. Right, let's take a look at what Liverpool are playing, because I am curious. 7 changes from the last game to bring some players back in. We're fresh for it. That's going to be important in this game, as they are actually going to play what was shown to me just a moment ago. Shaqiri is going to be in there. Henderson doesn't start. It's quite interesting. I mean, we're going to pump fists and tell them we're favourites, because I think we deserve to be favourites based on the way the league campaign has gone. But yeah, they're going to play a 4-3-3 system, a system that we talked about before. I am very good against, which makes me feel a little bit more confident going into this one. And you can see there then our 4-2-3-1, slightly deeper the way we play it, of course. And you can see the league table. What a win this would be. Put us on 78 points. It would require City to really push for the final few games of the season, as we have a highlight 40 seconds in that has been lumped in towards Alisson Becker, who's going to pick that up and immediately finds Shaqiri. Now, what Shaqiri lacks in pace, he makes up for, I was going to say, with technical ability, as it's a little bit all over the place, of course. Now, for those that don't remember, I think was it episode 2? I'll just pause it there before they score, probably. It was episode 2. We played our fullbacks playing slightly narrower to cut off the space for the likes of Mane and Salah. It'd be interesting to see if that works. We've been playing it since, and hopefully now we know it even better. It should restrict them. Stopping Mane in tight spaces will probably be easier than stopping Shaqiri, because again, he's got that little bit more technical ability. So we have to keep an eye on that. Emerson is good enough to play fullback for us. I'd rather Chilwell there, but I think we'll be okay. The big thing for me in this is Emerson's picked up a very early booking and looks a little bit angry as well. Good for us though. 2 bookings in the Liverpool back line as well, which Werner hopefully will be able to take advantage of. And that's the big thing for me. If Werner's pace can get in behind this Liverpool lineup, Mason Mount feeding balls through to him, we're really happy with that. Away at Liverpool, I guess, is it too early to say I would take a draw? But I mean, I probably would do. Ball to Werner. This is what we've been talking about. He's in on goal. It's a great save from Becker. Werner, for me, should do better there, and that is arguably why we've not scored the back post. So, well, that's really interesting. That's something I think we should maybe change straight away before they even have the attack. I don't know if you spotted it. I could go back 10 seconds, and you'll see why I'm going to change what I'm about to change. If we just go back to the corner, as the ball's put in, the man that heads it clear is Virgil van Dijk, and Zuma's ability from throw-ins has been really, really key for us. What I might do, because of where Virgil is play a short corner rather than playing a corner to the back post, especially on that side, because I don't just want Zuma to be marked out of the game by Van Dijk, who in theory is better than him in the air. All right, so corner attack from that side. I think Mount's taking them from the other side. I'm actually going to play them then, rather than playing them all the way to the back post. We're actually going to play them near post. We might not score from it. It might make no difference at all, but I want to keep the ball away from Van Dijk. That's the key thing here. Liverpool actually are breaking from the corner, so it'll be quite frustrating, but Kante gets back, does a really good job, and Pulisic keeps it in as well. Again, we might not even see another corner, but just an interesting observation and a little mid-game change, just to, not just repeat the same thing over and over again and then not win those headers. And Zuma's goal scoring this year for us has been a real plus point. The reason I'm not putting Zuma at the front post, should say as well, is because if Van Dijk's just instruction is to mark a tall player, he will just follow Zuma, so it's not really worth doing. All right then, it's been a very even game. I'm just keeping an eye on my boy. Ziyech is having a pretty wasteful game so far, 6.4. And Liverpool, as the home side, they are the team that arguably need to win this more than we do. We can afford to lose a game here or there. Not that I want to. You'll notice Bobby's positioning there is probably quite good for us. Whether he gets past Silva here or not is a worry. Keita, we're a little bit pulled across that side. I'm a bit concerned. But because of the player Firmino he's dropping deeper rather than running in behind Silva, which would arguably be worse for us. It's not worse for us when he does that. That is the most Bobby Firmino, Sadio Mane finish I've ever seen, and you could have almost predicted it, couldn't you, viewers? I don't know if it would have been worth having Kante man mark. He misses the tackle on Shaqiri, which is arguably key. What a pass that is. I'll tell you what, forget Mbappe, Firmino's pretty good. All right, we're not going to wait. We're going to change something in our side. Ziyech, as I said, has had a pretty indifferent game. I'm going to make two changes. Mason Mount's going to drop further back. Ziyech is going to come in behind Werner. You think I'd take him off? I'm not going to. I'm going to bring on Hudson-Odoi to play inverted winger attack instead on that right-hand side. Try and create a little bit more width in an already quite narrow system. You can see just where he's sitting now, Hudson-Odoi. He's sitting far wider than he normally would if Werner scores. He's had two of them now. That is the sort of chance we're trying to create, and he's had two. Emerson with a long throw. These are broken in Football Manager, but Becker does well. Hudson-Odoi actually wins it. Another physical presence on the pitch for us. The ball from Shaqiri, or to Shaqiri, was really good. Played it to Keita. Challenge goes in, and we do win the ball back. Pulisic, slide it through, finds Hudson-Odoi on that side, trying to isolate Robertson really, beats his man, ball in, Werner. That's why we did it. We're trying to create a little bit of width, drag them a little bit wider, give Werner more space in the centre. That couldn't have gone any better, really, as the reply that we wanted. Rather than having him narrower, the space suddenly that's opened up here, if you play him inside, Robertson could sit a little bit more inside, but Hudson-Odoi, the pace of him causes Robertson all sorts of problems, gets past him, just chips it into Werner, who pulls away from his marker and makes it 1-1. Can we win it from here? Blimey. Maybe, just maybe, as Alexander-Arnold finds Firmino. And I'm not too worried. I mean, they've given it away there. Normally, I wouldn't mind this. Werner, it's his third chance of the game. He's had so many... I mean, I couldn't have maybe planned for Werner more than this, but it's just not happened for us. We might have to change him out after having three big chances as Liverpool now come forward to the edge of the box. Mane, Thiago Silva got a foot to it. There's 15 minutes to go. I think it's Tammy time. Tammy Abraham then comes on. Ziyech is going to be replaced by Kai Havertz, who's back in the side. Actually, yeah, I would go Kai Havertz. I was thinking it's him or Kovacic. We'll go Kai Havertz. 15 minutes to go. Staying on attacking. Emerson. Ball to the front post. It's gone in! We scored from a front post corner! So rather than putting it... I mean, I'm not going to lie, viewers. I feel pretty good about what you've watched today because I did that. That's kind of me. Rather than playing it to the back post, you went to the near post and it's headed in. You can see Van Dijk trying to get across. He was nowhere. Pulisic sort of pounces on the knockdown. We played it to that cluster of players in the middle and arguably got a bit lucky. Another throw-in going in now. Havertz was there, cleared away. Look at my little face. Look at my little face. I'm pleased it's worked live. I think that's what's exciting for me about it, is that I sort of hoped this would happen, and now it has done. Emerson on that side. Can you get the ball across? Mason Mount's there. The two of them combining quite nicely. And even if they break here, Liverpool, we're back in pretty good. Oh, not if Mane gets it. I was thinking if it went on the right side. Mane racing through past Thiago Silva. It's a worry. Oh, Mendy just tips it over the bar. Brilliant save. You can see why I'm playing 2D, can't you? I know you're probably used to seeing 3D more recently, but when you're doing this sort of challenge, and tactically it's so important, I just think 2D is so much better. All right, I think we need to start to be a bit more sensible. Liverpool are now really pushing for this. I don't think... See, it's a strange thing to do in this sort of team, and this might be the sort of thing that comes back to haunt me. We'll go slightly more balanced. I think in transition, I don't want to counter-press quite as much. I don't necessarily think it makes us better for doing so, and we slowly start to time waste a little bit. I think we lower everything. I've done this in a few games just to try and calm it down a little bit. If I could make another change, I would take Kante off here and bring on Kovacic because he's more of a ball player. But the way it's gone so far, kind of perfect. I mean, you can't really account for Liverpool's goal. It's really good. But the way we've come back into it with a set piece and with a well-worked move with the man on that side, it's brilliant defending. Blimey, throwing bodies on the line. Thiago Silva and the troops doing the business. There's a man over at the back post, is there? No, Tammy trying to beat Gomez. Back to Alisson. But this game's not done yet, but we might be just seeing this out as the time has ticked away. I love Football Manager at the moment. I'm having a lovely time, viewers. The corner that we changed, the goal from being Hudson Odoi on. I'm the cat that got the cream, viewers. I am the cat that got the cream. How many shots did we have in the game? Because I feel like we were a little less potent than we normally are in terms of chance creation. Yeah, not quite as many for probably either side, actually. But that will happen when you're both playing in big games. But yeah, really similar XG, extremely close XG. But it was just those subtle changes, the set piece switch that we made, bringing on Hudson Odoi and changing his roll up, right? I didn't change the shape or the system of how we were playing. We stayed on attacking the whole time. But this is what I mean. The plan B isn't to change the system, it's to change the personnel, to change a little few bits here and there. And today, it won't always happen, but today, it got us the win. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed watching this. I'm cat that got the cream. If you've enjoyed it then, please do drop a like on it. If you want to see more series like this with me tackling different things, of course, we're focusing very much on a very common tactic this season with Gegenpress and NFM in recent seasons. But yeah, we'll try different things. If you think there's other challenges for us to take on, it won't always be trying to win a league. Sometimes it'll be trying to survive relegation and doing that smartly and considering every avenue and how you can pick up results here and there and things like that. So, if you enjoyed it, thanks for watching. I'll see you again so soon. The final episode of this will be tomorrow. Do you think we'll win the title? No, surely, right? Surely. We'll find out tomorrow. Goodbye.